Coach Les Miles, I hope you're having a great Monday. Welcome back to Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Yeah, it's Monday's wonderful here in Baton Rouge, and I appreciate the opportunity to visit with those folks in Tuscaloosa.
No doubt, and we're looking forward to the conversation. Can I ask you your biggest takeaway from that Alabama and LSU game this past weekend?
It looked so much like I think the recipe that Alabama uses is, be able to run the football, convert some third downs, and certainly with Hurts, it's a mobile third down situation, and hit a couple of deep passes, play defense like Nick teaches it, and honestly, it was a very strong outing for Alabama. I felt like the Tigers, worked hard and played hard, and I think that they competed extremely well. So a tough game to win for the Tigers, but the recipe that Nick Saban would use was play great defense. Let this offense continue to, got a great running back and a nice line. I like the game. I think that at some point in time, if for another team to emerge, I think Georgia is an interesting one to talk about, but I'm not ready not to pick Alabama to win it all.
Coach, when you look at LSU players, I know what it's like on this side of the locker room. Some of the Alabama players would even tell you that is Alabama's biggest rival. It's always fun when LSU gets together with Alabama and this game, and you've been a part of these. They're physical contests, and they tee off on one another. Man, I look up in the air and say, thank God I'm not a football player when I'm on the sidelines.
There isn't any question. It's the game means so much. It's one in which you control your own destiny if you win it. Generally speaking, you take the lead in the West if you win it, and now that puts you in an opportunity to play for the conference title and in the playoffs. So it's certainly important that way, but it's more important too because Alabama has really distinguished itself as one of the premier programs in the country. And at LSU, we have talent and ability, and we like measuring ourselves versus the best. And I'm speaking for the Tigers that I coached. That was always something that we enjoyed. We wanted to compete with Alabama because it gave us the opportunity to be the best. The score is 0-0. We start that thing out, and we can end up with some way, somehow, to end up on top. Ooh, that's the right one to win.
What do you have to do to beat a Nick Saban team?
You have to be able to move the football on the ground and give them something to concern themselves with while you throw a couple balls over their heads. And then you have to stop a quality offense and some guys that can run the football, big offensive line. And you can't make mistakes. You can't turn the ball over, which you had a couple turnovers, which did not work and did not help. And you have to make the plays that you can make when it's time. I mean, there were a couple open balls there that you certainly would love to have caught. But one thing about it, he sets the bar high. The opponent, he's got to play, some error-free football for some time, and then they got to be ready to be physical. At some point in time, there's going to be a tackle to be made, and running through that tackle and playing hard surely makes a difference.
We're talking to Coach Les Miles right now on the game here in Tuscaloosa as we move forward. Coach, let me get your thoughts on the Georgia Bulldogs. Kirby Smart sort of got those guys cranked up and playing at a high level as well.
Yeah, I like the Georgia team. I like how they play on defense. I think that they are the spitting image of the Alabama team by design. I don't know if they're the same players, but by design they are the spitting image, and they want to be able to control the ball on the ground. And with Nick Chubb and Sonny Michel, they can do that. They're pretty talented ball players. And this Fromm can run a little bit. He can throw it better than we'd have thought. In South Carolina game, he looked pretty good. And so I think the Georgia team is very viable. I think they're the second best team in the league, and I don't want to spew any rat poison, but I still think that Alabama's more experienced to be in that position. I think they're still the team to be reckoned with back in the season.
Well, maybe with your friendship with Nick Saban, he won't be as mean to you guys as he is to the media about rat poison.
Well, it's exactly what you want to call it, because every time the kids, the players, hear rat poison, then you know exactly what that means. That somebody is taking time to, fuss over me and give me compliments and get me to thinking that I'm good enough, not quite challenged to play my best, because what the hell, I'm good enough. And that's all you need to have a team who thinks somehow, some way they got to win, somehow, some way they're going to play better than Alabama. And you have the Alabama team, sucking on that rat poison, thinking they're good enough and they will need to practice hard and they're not just really, involved. And then you have that other team who's just hungry, and then suddenly it becomes a dogfight, and it's not one that benefits you. And so I think rat poison is exactly what you want to say, because as soon as it hits the paper or somebody reads it, the Alabama player knows exactly what Nick has pointed to. So I'm sure he's sick and tired of hearing about rat poison himself. But to me, I wrote it down. Next, hopefully, another program that I get to coach, I'll be talking rat poison.
Well, Coach, let me ask you, when you look at last week's rankings of Alabama at number 2, and I know we'll have new rankings tomorrow, but how perfect did that set up for Coach Saban, having his team at number 2 rather than at number 1?
Yeah, that's a great point. I think the opportunity for Coach Saban to see how easily things can change. I mean, you didn't play. Really, it was just everything that you've been asked to do, you've done, and you just dropped. So, they didn't play a strength of schedule that was good. They, they really, before they played LSU, they only played one ranked team, and that was Florida State. And the Florida State team had lost their quarterback and had a miserable year thereafter. And so now, the committee gets it right. Certainly Alabama's going to be in the mix, but by who you play, in other words, this Georgia team defeats Alabama, and Alabama now, the Georgia team defeats Notre Dame. This Notre Dame win suddenly is a significant win for Georgia. It allows them to make the case that they're the number 1 ranked team. So I think Coach Saban, just like you're saying, it fell right into his hands. See what happens. These people don't care about you. You're the one who's going to make your destiny. So you can be as happy as you want to be about yourself right now, or you can come to practice today, bust your tail, and do the things that we ask you to do here to become better, more focused, more improved. So,
Coach, what's the most rewarding thing about being a head coach at a major university or any university, to be able to groom these young men into being great adults and great contributors to our society?
That to me is here's what we're going to do. We're going to do hard things together for the betterment of all. We're going to, no matter how hard the situation is, it's something that we'll overcome. And you teach, expectations that you can, be better and improve, and hard work's the way. But then it's the relationship with the players, and it's the relationship with the coaches and families. Because when it's all said and done, it's all about people. You want to make sure they get their degree. You want to make sure that they're really quality sons, quality brothers, and really quality fathers and husbands. So you enjoy those people, and that relationship is based on the fact that you show up at a place to work hard for a common goal. And, I miss it. I miss that part of college football.
Coach, are you going to get back into it?
Well, it has to be the right place, and it's got to be the right athletic director. An athletic director who wants to introduce Les Miles as head football coach, a president that wants the same. And if that's the case, then I'll look forward to it. If not, hang out a little bit closer to the field and be on the other side of the lines, I guess.
Coach, and certainly your credentials speak for itself, but let me give you a chance here. What does Les Miles bring to a college program?
Well, you know what? One thing he's never done, he's never patted himself on the back ever. And I think that guy will have to sit down with me and understand the advantages that I bring to his institution. I've never been a guy that felt like I needed to, pat myself on the back. So I'm good with where I'm at. I just have to have somebody realize that this is a guy that enjoys competition and really wants back in the game.
Coach, how would you describe the SEC right now from your perspective? You've been involved in this league a long time. What do you see in the SEC now?
Well, I really see a separation between Alabama and Georgia. On the East, for whatever reason, there seems to be different distractions off the field that have cost teams a quality football team and a quality season. You look at those institutions that have changed coaches, had suspensions, had the issues of what could be cheating in the perimeter. I think it's hurt them. I think the teams are not quite as strong as they would be normally. And I think that the Alabama and Georgia team have kind of stepped up and continued to improve. And I think LSU is another one that's really in the mix there, because I think that I think if I had to pick the top four, I'd pick Auburn in the top four. Pick Alabama, Georgia, Auburn, and LSU, and maybe LSU in front of Auburn. So, and that's, when you look at a lot of Kentucky's better. I think the Vanderbilt team is hit and miss, but, by and large better. But other than that, I think there's you play some teams on any given Saturday that doesn't have the personnel that they normally have had.
What kind of chance do you give Auburn going up against Georgia this weekend? That game is down in Lee County, down here in Auburn.
I think Auburn's got a heck of a shot. To be honest with you, I got a podcast that I'm pumping. Less is more.
Less is more. The PlayersTribune.com.
I think Auburn will play extremely well at home, and I think that that'll be a knockout. That'll be a big game.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, you think about Alabama, Mississippi State. That one's setting up to be a dynamic game, and then you've got Auburn and Georgia. No doubt, college football. Final question, Coach. When you look at the SEC, when I look at expectations right now, there's a lot of quality head coaches that are on the hot seat right now in this conference that probably could be without a job at the end of the year. When you see that, what's the first thing that goes through your mind that maybe we're talking 5 or 6 open jobs in the SEC this upcoming year?
Well, it's difficult. It's difficult for the coaches that are doing a really good job and really investing in their players and doing the things that make them better both on the field and off. It becomes difficult for them to look behind them and feel like there's great support. And the only thing I can say is to those guys that you really coach for those players. You coach for those people that come into those stadiums. And if you're on the hot seat, then, you know, do everything that you can to remain consistent with your approach. All those things that you're doing right, continue to do them. And don't worry about what seat you're sitting in. You know, look at the team that you're preparing to play, looking to you know, take on your schedule, you know, one game at a time, and don't spend a lot of time looking in all those distractions that are just off the field that want to consume you. And I think those guys that don't worry about what seat they're sitting in or how hot it is become better coaches because they're not distracted by all that stuff.
Hey, Coach, let me one more time. ThePlayersTribune.com. ThePlayersTribune.com, as Coach Les Miles does a podcast called Less is More.
I did not pick that name.
I like that name.
I just decided to go with it.
No, it's catchy. It's catchy. See, if you're going to be on this media side of things, Coach, it's catchy. It makes me want to click. And I was reading through some of your podcast names. Mad Hatter. I don't think there's anything mad about it. I like that. I mean, see, these are catchy titles. Let's improve. Let's work at it. We have a lot to play for. I mean, these are wonderful titles, man. Your publicist and the person you do the podcast with, man. That's quality there.
Talented guys. I mean that. There is one thing about it. I would not be able to turn on a microphone or off a microphone. I have to be honest. I am the least technical podcast guy there is. And the guys that I do it with, certainly we have guests that speak. We had Tyson Jackson the other day, and the commissioner of the conference, Professor Sankey, he came in and visited with us. But every week I do work with a guy that was, you know, in my wedding, a guy named John Wangler. He's a old quarterback and a great Michigan player. My daughter, Smacker Miles, who steps in and does the mediating and generally picks on the dad's picks. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, but
I met her at SEC Media Days.
It's family football and fun, and we'll certainly enjoy our days.
No doubt. Well, hey, Coach, let me just encourage you one thing. You got to become more active. I know you're active on Twitter, but I always enjoy Coach Les Miles on Twitter with those random comments. We need those back.
Yeah, I want
to
know something. I don't really quite know how to operate the Twitters. For me, if I'm someplace that I can't quite describe, I'll put it on Twitter because somebody will know about it.
Hey,
like late for a play.
Well, hey, listen, you've got the names right. Coach Saban doesn't even get the names right. He doesn't even know. Like, he calls it completely not what it is. So he's good at football. He's not good at social networks.
Yeah, I want you to know something. I understand that position.
Hey, Coach, thank you again for spending some time with us in Tuscaloosa. We've enjoyed the conversation.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it, and always nice to talk to people from Alabama.